Good afternoon and welcome back to Confidence Talks. Ladies, Nish, Bina, welcome back. We're in a new setting, dining table, and we're on the water today.
That's not like us at all.
It's not. It is a gorgeous Saturday. Where are we? We're in April. A gorgeous, gorgeous Saturday. We've been for a lovely morning walk, but no, we thought we'd keep hydrated with the water today. We've already done the coffees and everything, so there we go. Wow, so this is the start of a new season.
It is indeed.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time reflecting on what we did last season, talking about it, and also where we want to take this season. We're eagerly waiting our releases to kind of like happen as well, which hopefully should be soon. But gosh, it's been about 6 weeks, 2 months nearly, since actually we've had a proper sit down, get together, especially for Confidence Talks. I know,
That's crazy.
A lot's been happening, hasn't it?
A lot. I knew that we had like a very, very busy 6 weeks going on, and I'm kind of just towards the end of that now. But it would be a really lovely time just to check in as well and just see what we've all been up to. So Nish, what about you? What have you been up to over the last kind of 6 weeks or so?
Well, I've been and topped up tan and got myself some vitamin D, you know, that friend of mine. So yeah, I've been away in Spain, which has been lovely. Weather initially wasn't great, but towards the end it started getting hotter, which was nice. So I've got that spring in my step now, just coming back, and as of Monday it's back into work, full on exam season. So that's me all the way until June now.
How do you feel about that?
No, I'm okay. I'm good because I know at the end of June I fly away again. So that always keeps me going. That just keeps me going the whole time. I've got something to look forward to. But there's lots happening within, between now and June as well. Just being back here in the UK. So I'm good. I'm really good.
So really busy, and you've also been entertaining people in Spain as well.
Yeah, so it's been a busy one. It's been a busy one in Spain. But it's been lovely. It's been really nice. So,
ourselves included. First
Yes.
family holiday. Had a fabulous time, thank you.
Well, you can check in now. We're moving on to your check-in.
We're moving on. Yeah, so the last 6 weeks, let me think. So a lot's gone on, busy on a work front, but personally as well. So in the background, I've been planning Sanvi, my little ones, like her, not so little, 2 going on to 22. I've been planning her birthday, which is coming up in June. I like to be really organised. So I've been doing a bit of that, thinking a lot about what we want to do for this season for Confidence Talks, and also, you know how I love to learn and constantly like be doing something new. So I've been looking at courses as well that I can kind of do and bring that learning to the table and support people. So I've also been doing a lot of thinking about picking up on the meditation practices that I do, well-being, things like that. Again, I think when the weather starts to turn and you see the kind of signs of spring and you see those tulips, I do think something shifts.
The mindset as well, isn't it?
It does, and you kind of just feel a little bit more motivated, don't you, to start afresh, do something new. So I have lots and lots of plans in place for the coming months, so that's what I've been doing. And like you said, lovely time in Spain where we had our first family holiday with Nish, and yeah, it was just amazing. We were quite nervous as like first time parents, like taking a toddler on a plane for the first time.
That's very normal.
How was she on the plane, just out of interest?
Do you know, really, the thing is, I go in with a prepare for the worst and then everything is fine. She was really good. She was just mesmerised by it all. I didn't really want her to look out the window because I thought, what if she gets a funny tummy because of, you know, the kind of climbing at altitude and the kind of a lot of movement. But she wouldn't stay away from the window. She just wanted to see all the clouds, and she kept saying she could see birds. What she could see was other planes. But she was like, birdie. So yeah, she wouldn't sleep through the whole flight because she was just too busy taking it in. So
That's amazing.
With her bunny, who Thumper had to come on the flight with us.
Okay, that's not a little bunny either.
That's not a little bunny.
Yeah, that's a big one. That came with her everywhere.
She can barely hold it under her arm, like he's so chunky. And she sits down and puts Thumper on my seat, and I'm like, that's lovely, but where's Mummy gonna sit? And then she sits on the seat. I'm like, that's great. Where's Mummy gonna sit? So on my lap, I've got Sandy. On Sandy's lap, we've got Bunny. It's like,
why not?
It's a budget airline, yeah? Like, there's no room to go anywhere.
No.
But no, she was not only looking out the window, she was holding her bunny up, going, Bunny, look! Out the window. It's the cutest thing. So yeah, it was. She was really, really, really good, and such a lovely time. So I actually too feel quite rejuvenated and refreshed. You know, sometimes it's not a case of you need more sleep to feel rested and rejuvenated.
Yeah.
You know,
Just a change of scenery sometimes.
Yeah.
Just a change of scenery helps so much. and
change
that's
of
what I
scenery,
find.
a little bit of exercise, doing something you love, something that makes you smile and laugh, and you
But
come away.
you spent some good quality time with your husband and your child, and I think that was really important, wasn't it?
was, oh yeah, it
There
was
no
amazing.
work involved. It was just that time.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had us there, but
Yeah, honestly, it was. We've come back feeling really relaxed and kind of refreshed in a different way. So it was really lovely. So that's me, Vina. I haven't seen
Oh my
you.
God.
I haven't seen you for
Oh,
ages.
It's been so long. What have I been doing? Work has been the predominant part of what I've been doing. So I feel like this year has gone crazy with work. I've had very little downtime, and if I have, it's been time to just get chores done, get stuff done that's on the list of things to do and all the rest of it. But work is amazing, it's great, I've got loads of sort of things on the go, different programs, and I'm loving it, absolutely loving it.
So just in case the people are listening for the first time, just remind us of what you do, your work.
So I run a training company. I do management and leadership training predominantly, but do a lot of team development and
Equilux.
coaching and things. So it's Equilux people development. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. You said change of scenery, and I can't remember if I did this before our last session or before. I can't even remember.
We've seen you since then.
Since then, okay.
You came here and you were telling us about
When I've gone away. So yes, I literally took 3 days out.
That's right. Yeah.
And just booked into a hotel randomly in Kent. Took a book or 5, and just sat
that is just
outdoors
sounds
reading
amazing.
the book. It was just, I needed to switch off.
Yeah.
Absolutely needed to switch off from work, and I'm terrible if I'm at home. I think this is just the way that I am. I will just open my laptop and start working because it's there and it's easy, and you think, oh, I'll just do
And
that.
you didn't take it with you.
Left my laptop at home.
Oh, good.
I didn't even open my iPad to watch Netflix or anything like that. I literally switched off from technology, took a book, just sat outdoors
good.
in the outdoor area and just
And
drank
that's really,
cocktails and bread.
it's difficult to do when it is your own business though, to switch
Yeah.
off. It is difficult.
Really
so
hard.
I'm proud of you for doing that. And you're right, we saw you immediately as you checked out and you came straight to a
Yeah,
Oh,
it was,
yes,
it was
on
literally
Saturday
that. That's the
week,
last
wasn't
time
it?
we did our last session.
Yeah, and
Insights.
you did look amazing. Like you just looked so relaxed.
Yeah, I think what I learned from it was I need to switch off more.
Yeah,
and do that sort of thing.
I think quite often, and we're all guilty of it, people wait to the brink of burnout and then it's a little bit, it's too little too late.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
guilty as charged on that.
yeah,
one.
it's like if you let, you know, something that is a small issue, kind of, you know, you don't go see the doctor and everything, and then you leave it, it turns into something so big that what could have been resolved with maybe a bit of cream or a pill suddenly is now a bigger problem. So you're absolutely right, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
But also tell us about the exciting trip you're about to take from a business point of view.
Yes. So one of the clients that I'm working with, they've asked us to come out to Barcelona and spend a day supporting them out there. So I fly out at some ridiculous time in the morning.
Oh my god,
complaining.
you're officially a business jet setter.
So flying out on Tuesday, but I've been a bit naughty. So my parents are already out in Spain. And once I finish off in Barcelona, I'm going down to meet them
Well, why not?
in Malaga. So I'm flying down to Malaga afterwards and spending the rest of the week there. I'm still working out there because I've got stuff scheduled in, but
It's great because this whole working from home,
Exactly.
virtual working
Work
really
from
is
anywhere.
working for people where you're
Yeah.
able to do that,
so
which is
I'm
great,
really-
I think.
really looking forward to it. Beautiful weather.
Yeah. It will
Um,
be.
Get to spend some time with the folks.
Nice.
Yeah, just relax. So yeah, lots of stuff going on that front.
Exciting. And you're going to have amazing weather as
Oh
well.
my god, I need the vitamin D. I'm not gonna lie.
It's amazing.
It's my
what
favourite
a little
friend.
bit of
Vitamin D.
yeah, what a little bit of sunshine can do
it
for
does.
you.
It's amazing.
It's, yeah. So it's great to catch up with you guys. So for the new season, in the first season we talked a lot about self, you know, so we talked about self-worth and self-esteem, having that self-confidence. Where does that come from? Is there something you need to revisit? Do you need to ask for professional support and help to work through some things from your past? Because you are essentially a product of your past experiences, aren't you?
Yeah.
So what we want to focus on this season is take it up a notch and talk about not just yourself, but you with others. But it starts from the core of you being happy. So I thought, you know what a great topic to just start on: happiness. We hear it all the time.
Oh,
You
yes.
hear people saying, I'm happy, I'm not happy, or I'm unhappy, or I'm searching for happiness, or I haven't found happiness. And I've always thought about this. You know, there was the movie as well, wasn't there? The film, the Will Smith's film of Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of thought about it. I thought, is happiness something you go in search of? Is it something you find somewhere or you attain? Or actually is it something that you can create yourself? So I wanted to explore just generally, what does this word happiness actually mean? A little bit about it.
Yeah.
And then really to give people that empowerment of, you don't have to go searching for it, it's something you can create. And then maybe if we start breaking it down into the building blocks of how do you create that in your life, which area is missing from that building block, and how do we go about actually creating it. So I'll give you the definition later as usual. I just want to know your views first. What do you define as happiness? What does it mean to you?
So I think for me, you know, this in pursuit of happiness, finding happiness, searching for happiness, I think it is from within. I believe happiness is within you, and it's being content. I associate being content with happiness. I think everybody has ups and downs in life, and we have unhappy moments, or you know, unhappy times. But it's within you. I think you, and again, I also link it with positivity.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of negativity out there. I think if you are naturally a positive person, which I believe I am, and you hang about with people who are not so happy or negative, they can really bring you down. You know, but you've got to be strong within yourself for that happiness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm kind of with you on that, because I do believe it starts from within.
Yeah.
I'm in that space of thinking you can't look for happiness from other people. You need to find it from yourself first.
Exactly.
And people enhance that.
Yeah.
That's a great way of looking at it. Yeah. So you create it, and then you use other people to, like you said, enhance it, or to keep building on it, or bounce
What
it.
is that saying? Being with like-minded people,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess that's what it's being in those circles of the type of people that you want to be around. And that is a choice as well, isn't it?
Gotcha.
So you choose to be with people who are happy, who are content, who are positive. Once in a while you might meet somebody who might be the opposite of that, but it's how you manage that and how you deal with that, I believe.
I agree. For me, I found, because of the type of person that I am, I find being around negative people drains me.
Yeah.
It just absolutely exhausts me. So I try to avoid being around those kinds of people, because it doesn't feel good to me. So I surround myself with people that are naturally positive and bring
Boost
good
your energy.
Good energy,
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely. It's interesting because we've talked about this before, and each of us have been in a situation where in our past, you know, as we're growing and maybe still not so confident in ourselves, we have felt that we've had to spend time with people who actually bring us down because we have to.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. It could be that they're in your family, it could be they're in a circle of friends, but you don't feel like you can disassociate from them, kind of thing. But actually, we've talked about this in our previous episodes, take ownership.
Yes.
You know, be kind to yourself. Surround yourself with people who are going to enhance your life and give you something positive, not actually drain you.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the definition, and you know, it's absolutely, I think your understanding of it is absolutely spot on. So happiness is an emotional state characterized by feelings of joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment.
There you go.
So the joy element, we're talking about that positive energy, that's joy, isn't it? Kind of the positive energy, seeing things from a positive point of view, from a glass half full point of view. The satisfaction and contentment, yeah, so satisfaction and contentment, my understanding of it is you're not constantly seeking something else or something better. You're happy, you're content with whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
And that has a lot of a part to play in being happy. You often see, when you speak to somebody who's unhappy, and we all know, I'm sure we've come across those people in life where no matter what they have, they always seem to still be unhappy.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and there is
no
a
matter
saying,
what you say or what you do, they are constantly going
they'll
to
find
be
a negative spin to
always.
it. You know, and there is the saying that money doesn't buy you happiness.
Yeah.
And nothing buys you happiness. It's something you have to kind of create. But you do find these people who constantly look at things from a negative point of view. It's either keeping up with the Joneses, or it's no matter what they have, it's but I want better, I want more. You know, I need more.
And that's
money,
contentment, isn't it? They're not content with what they have.
That's it.
But that, for me, goes back to they're not happy within themselves, which
Exactly.
is why they're looking for material things to
Yeah.
build that contentment.
Yeah. Now, I would like to make the point of saying, I think contentment versus wanting to strive for better is different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So contentment is whatever situation I'm in, whatever I have, I will appreciate that first. And if I want to work towards something else, I work towards something else that is better.
Yeah.
But first you have to have appreciation for where you are, what you have, and then work on it from there.
Do you know, I had a really interesting conversation with my sister-in-law, linked to this slightly, where actually you can have an upbringing where you don't have a lot of things around you, but the quality of time you spend with people is what makes you more well-rounded and more happy, versus someone who has had everything that they ever wanted, lived a comfortable life, but didn't have the people around them, that relationship built around them, and therefore actually are not as content or as happy because they didn't have that
Emotional richness,
yes,
the social element.
that love,
Interesting.
that TLC almost.
We were talking about that this morning, about education versus that whole kind of social element, and you need both. We are human beings at the end of the day. We are supposed to be and feel and absorb, and it is about human interaction. And I think you're absolutely right. If you meet those people who have kind of travelled the globe and met so many different people from different kind of areas of life, Nish being one of those kind of people, you find they are far more richer for it. You know, they're more accepting, they're more kind of comfortable in themselves. Something's mulling in your mind.
No, you're right, because you meet people and they've, like you say, it's not just about travelling, it's whatever experiences they've had, but those experiences enrich their life. And this is what we were talking about. Education will give you the education, but a lot of the education system is going into having an enrichment program. So we've all been focused on education, but you've got to give children more than that. You've got to enrich their lives with experiences and things, and which then leads to happiness or fulfillment of your life. Whereas schools haven't done that before. But going back to people, you do see a difference in people who have had that, and the conversations you can have with those sort of people. Not to say that people who haven't travelled are not the same, but it's those cultures, it's those different ways of life that you see from this one place. Having always been in one place, you may read books, you may watch documentaries, but you haven't physically experienced it. And it's that physical experience of going away, seeing things, meeting different people who speak different languages, people who you cannot even communicate with, but somehow you manage.
You find a common.
That in itself is an experience. I remember my first week or so when we moved, or when my husband moved to Spain, we had to have some keys cut. And there was a so-called concierge downstairs, this old Spanish guy, could not speak a word of Spanish. And I'm trying to say to him, I need some more keys. I couldn't speak Spanish, he could speak English. right? So you can imagine. Anyway, he's like saying to me, "Yep, give me like 10 minutes." He's, blabbering away in Spanish, and I'm going, "Okay." So he takes my keys, and I'm thinking, "Oh my God, he's taken my keys. Oh my God, he's going off, and he's left the building, and he's gone off with my keys." Anyway, I just stayed where I was. I did not move. For 10 minutes, I stood there, and he came back with 2 sets of keys.
Yay!
And I was like really grateful to him. So I said to my husband, I said, "Oh, I've got another set." He said, "How did you manage that?" I went, "Well, you don't want to know, but through a lot of sign language, I got there." He's like, "Well done, Nish, that's brilliant." I said, "Well, he didn't speak English and I didn't speak Spanish, but I kind of understood what he was saying, that he was going somewhere, but I just didn't know where he was going with these keys."
Yeah.
But that was an experience. And now, way down the line, all he ever kept saying to me is, "When are you going to speak Spanish? When are you going to speak Spanish?" And I wanted to say to him, "When are you going to speak English?" But he was way too old. He was never going to speak English. But he was always just blabbers away, like, "I understand everything." But it was just such a great experience to see him every time I arrived at the apartment. He'd be so happy, and it was just a lovely experience. And that made me even more determined to learn Spanish, so that I could communicate with him.
Wow.
And by the time I learnt it, he'd left. But it made me determined to learn it. And every time we got a translator, somebody to talk for me, they'd always say to me, "He's asking, when are you going to speak Spanish?"
Oh, bless him.
Because I think he really wanted to, have a conversation. So yeah.
Oh, so I mean, and also like the education point that you brought forward, really, really relevant. So just reminders for people who are listening for the first time, what you do and why you know so much about education.
Well, I'm not so much I know about education, but I work in school. I'm an exams invigilator, and I'm also a governor at the school where my boys were. So it gives you a different perspective of the education system when you're looking at it as a parent and from the other side.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that we as governors want to do for the school and want our children to have. It's a boarding school, so the ethos is very different. But the whole enrichment program is really, really something that's there for our students, and the co-curricular program that we offer is just phenomenal. Because we've got boarders, they're there. It's a state boarding school, which is very different to a private boarding school.
Okay.
You're not paying for the education. You pay for the boarding facilities, but we're also a charity, and we look after. We call them foundationers, but these are children who are either orphaned or come from difficult home circumstances, and they're actually safer in the care of the school than they are maybe at home.
Wow.
Or we actually save them from going into care.
Wow.
So we actually will fund their schooling, i.e. their boarding facilities of what the children would pay, and we give them an education. And we have some children from horrendous backgrounds or horrendous situations, but when they leave us, they're a fully rounded, accomplished
That's amazing.
adult.
Wow.
And it's just
Wow.
beautiful to see that how we can turn these children's lives around,
And the difference that you can make.
and the difference.
You know, that's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. So
Wow.
happiness, so yeah, it comes in many forms.
Oh, it does.
But it's
It
never
does.
too late, is it? It's never too late to
No.
kind of think, okay, so what is it that I'm unhappy with and how do I change it? Because I don't think it's any one thing. We talk about contentment, we talk about fulfillment, but that's in different aspects of our life, right? We're dynamic. It's not just a case of I'm happy, full stop.
Yeah.
We usually find, do you know what, we might be happy and content in our personal life, but there might be something going on at work or vice versa, etc.
Yeah, I think this myth that you can be happy all the time in every aspect of life, I'm not so sure about that. But it is how you navigate yourself through this. I think that happiness is from within. That's my one big motto. I think that it's how you navigate through that. Okay, like you say, you've got happiness here, but you haven't got it here. But how do you balance that?
I
You
actually
don't bring yourself completely down because that one thing's not right.
I actually think of it as thinking about different accounts. So you've got basically your different kind of savings accounts, and you've got kind of your current account, which is just generally your day-to-day interactions and everything, and you need to keep your energy levels up with that.
Yeah.
So that's your current account. You always want it to be balancing with your outgoings and incomings and things like that. So that's your general what you're doing for your interactions in every day, what do you do for your general everyday well-being, and that we always want to make sure is balanced properly.
Yeah.
Then you've got kind of what I would call like your savings account. So you've got kind of an account for your relationship, you've got an account for career and work, an account for your personal life and well-being, for your health, and it is about, like you said, balancing it. So if something's not quite going right in my relationship and I'm a bit unhappy, then first and foremost, what can I do to change that, and what can I do to help that? But also it's about pulling on maybe from another account, you know, I'm feeling good in that area, so let me take some of that positivity and see how I can boost this, essentially.
Yeah.
That's how it works in my head. But
That's a good way of describing it, actually. Yeah, good way.
Well, that's actually links massively to the work that Stephen Covey did around emotional bank accounts. So he talks about
Kobe and me are like chums.
yeah, best mates, right?
Comes to me for his best ideas. Used to.
He talks about the fact that you have an emotional bank account with people,
Okay.
and essentially people will input into your emotional bank account, or they'll take out of your emotional bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And that relationship, the transactions that you have, all happens unconsciously. We don't think about it. The only time we think about it is when our bank balances are uneven.
When you start need to pulling in the debt, when you're like, when payday's far
Yeah.
away, you're like, right, who owes
okay.
this money?
It's that whole bit of so say for example, you know, Nish, I do something for you and you're grateful for it. I've just put into your bank account, and different things will go into that bank account for different reasons.
Yeah.
If for some reason, you know, I'd ask you for a favour and you kind of go, look, I can't do it, it's not happening, you're gonna have to figure it out for yourself. I may feel that's taken out of my bank account, right? So different things. But what happens is relationships generally tend to work really, really well when both bank accounts are even,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If you think about a time where you've got that one person that's always asking you for something,
So
and,
take.
and they never do anything
And
in
no
return,
give. Oh,
Right.
that's draining.
that's when your bank balances are out of kilter, and
Yeah.
that's when it then becomes a conscious thing, and you're in your mind you're thinking, hang on a minute, this person's like now taking the mick.
Yeah, it was, my husband has this saying where he said, you know, there's got to be an equilibrium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that.
Equilibrium. Even within friendships, family, call it what you want, but there should be an equilibrium. Nobody should be hard done by or emotionally drained, or, you know, the bank account being low. Many different ways of saying it, but yeah, it's very true. Because
So-
if there's that equilibrium, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Nobody feels that they're being taken advantage of or are being drained of their
Yeah.
account.
The trick is, I've learned kind of in my relationships, is to look after each other's bank account rather than looking after your own. So if you're just looking after your own, thinking, is mine topped up? Is it in deficit? What's going on? If I look after, for example, if I take me and my husband, if I'm looking after his bank account, you'd love that. I do watch his bank account. If I'm looking after his bank account and making sure it's always staying at the right level and I'm not dipping into it, and if he does the same for me, isn't that better than us looking at our own accounts?
But that's the way it should be. But that takes the other person to be doing the same for you.
Yeah,
Right? It's got to
exactly.
work both ways.
Yeah, and that doesn't always happen.
Exactly.
It doesn't always.
And that's where it all goes wrong.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to happiness, I'm a true believer, and I know you guys are because we're like-minded, that everything, there is nothing you cannot achieve yourself. Everything is within. Any answers you need, anything you need to create, you can do it yourself, right? We came into this world with absolutely nothing but this body and this mind, and
Yeah.
so that's sufficient. That's all we need to achieve what we need to. So I've kind of broken it down into, okay, so somebody's out there listening thinking, okay, I'm unhappy and I'd like to change that. How do I do it? It may be easy to, as I said, kind of break it down into different areas of your life and actually figure out, rather than just thinking with a big kind of brushstroke, kind of saying, I'm not happy, I'm unhappy, actually break it down and think, well, what area of your life are you unhappy with? If it's every area, that's fine, you can still work on it. But like any problem, you need to get it right down to the basics of actually what's going on, and then you can fix it. So I thought it'd be good to actually focus on, for me, it's always been about the three simplest things, which is mind, body and soul. Simple,
makes sense.
straightforward, right? So mind, body and soul, all three within our control, all three, you know, we can actually benefit or help ourselves with. So I wanted to have a chat about what comes under each of these. So we can have a brief conversation today, and then what I'd love to do on another session is actually delve much deeper into each of them. So actually go into mindfulness, mental well-being, all of those things. Actually talk about, when we talk about the body aspect, talk about body image, body confidence. We can talk about health, what you eat, things, all those things. And then when it comes to soul, I can pull out my expertise around talking about meditation and chakras and energies and things like that, and come from that aspect as well. So it'll be good to just kind of briefly talk about each of them. So which would you like to start with, mind, body or soul? Which should we delve into first?
Mind?
Yeah, we've kind of been talking a bit about
Mind
mind
over matter?
anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So let's-
I do believe actually that the mind is the most powerful tool, and if you aren't looking after it, it can become a weapon onto yourself. So
Agree.
I completely agree that even more than the body, the mind, and I know that Buddhists believe this as well at the core of their faith, which is train your mind,
Yeah.
work with your mind.
Yeah.
You know, even when we're really old and our body gives out on us, we can still use our mind. So very powerful tool.
I'm going to give you a saying actually that links into this, and it really resonates with me. It's by John Ford. I'm probably going to butcher it, but I'll give you the kind of general feel of it. So, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
Simple, powerful.
And just let that sink in for those of you listening, because when you really start to dig into what that actually means, it's quite scary, because it's all about your mindset.
Absolutely.
And
I
that's
like
where
to
it
call
starts.
it mindset go.
Yeah.
Quirky like that. Mindset go.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. The only barrier, like any time you think of doing something, and there'll be a lot of people who tell you you can't do something, that's because they can't do it.
Yes, there's a lot of people in the world that want to bring you down.
Yeah.
That want to be negative, but like you
So
say,
you don't need to be that
if you
voice for
think you
yourself.
can, you can. So it's having that strength from within and having that strong mind.
Yes.
When I say strong mind, I don't mean being strong-headed
Like not
or
stubborn.
or anything, but I'm trying to think of the word, but really steadfast in what you believe. Resilient, that this is what you want to do, I can do this, and not letting anybody rock
Wave
you,
yeah.
away from you.
Absolutely.
In the business realm, we call it growth mindset.
Yeah,
Right.
growth mindset. They learnt it in school as well.
Absolutely, they teach it's
And
massive
the
in schools
it's
now.
growth mindset and
versus
fixed
fixed
mindset.
fixed mindset. Yes, yes.
So
That's right.
it's about having that positive
Open
thinking,
mind
that
that can
knowing.
grow.
Yeah, it's that bit of, you know, you can learn, you can grow to do
Yeah.
things differently, but approaching it in that way. It's not just about being positive, it's about living it, breathing it, doing it.
Yeah.
Making it realistic.
Yeah.
Be positive, but make it real. Actually,
Yeah.
make it realistic. So there's lots that we can explore around this. Talking about mindset, so let me just remind ourselves and others of what we've already covered in our previous episodes that are
Yeah.
to do with mindset. So we have covered the whole self-worth and self-value, which is also about mindset. So actually making sure you're checking yourself first. Do you have self-worth? Do you have self-value? And have that respect for yourself? If not, that's something you need to work on first.
Yeah.
Because if you find that you've always got that little voice in your head eating away at you, being negative, saying, no, you can't do this, you're joking, that's not within your capability, then you need to check that first. Make that voice your best friend and your strongest confidant and your strongest supporter, not the other way around. Then we talked about finding yourself as well. So a little bit about, find out about who are you, ask that question, who am I, how do you describe yourself, and who do you want to be, how do you want to be, and change that first. Don't sit there and think, oh, I wish I could be like this person, I wish I was more this, I wish I was more that. Don't wish it, do it.
Do it. Yeah.
So we've talked about that as well in our previous episodes, and how to do it as well. We talked about looking back to move forward as well. So quite often if you find yourself stagnated or fixed in a certain way and you don't like aspects of your personality, sometimes it's about digging a bit deeper and going back to where did this start? Where did this habit or this belief system or this mindset start? Go back, unravel, move forward. That does mean sometimes you might need to seek a bit of professional help, or even just go away and spend some time on your own to figure it out. You know, I know each of us have been on journeys like that individually. In some cases it might be a case of, you know what, I don't want to go back. I'm happy to just draw a line under it and start afresh.
Yeah.
That's fine too. Whatever works for you, but don't be afraid to look back to then move forward with it. We've also talked before about being brave, you know, and asking for help.
Yeah.
Asking for help is not a weakness.
No.
It's actually brave. It's really brave. I do think we're getting better at this as a society because of mental health awareness and reaching out for help and support, but we could be kinder to ourselves.
Yeah. It's really funny you say that. Literally 2 days ago, I was running a coaching session, and it's part of a program. We just delivered a module, which was fun enough about managing self. And this individual said to me, I found it really hard to look at myself and answer the questions you were asking. And when we started digging under the surface, he's never spent any time looking at himself. Anything that he did for other people and never did it for himself. And when I kind of said, well, what do you like doing on your day off? Whatever my wife or my children want to do.
Wow.
What do you do if you're on your own? Literally silence. And what I found really interesting was it took some really hard digging to get to one thing that he could tell me that he enjoyed. And in that moment he was like, I need help from someone to get to the core of all of this stuff. And hopefully we're going to be able to do that for him. But actually,
Through your coaching skills,
more so, the fact that so many people do things because they do it for other people rather than doing it for themselves, which links into that. Really knowing yourself and asking for help when you need it.
It is easier, though. I think we very quickly can fall into that trap because it's easier to be told what to do and to be told what the expectations are and follow that because it's a pre-made plan, rather than having to get to know yourself and figure out what you want to do.
It's scary getting to know yourself.
It is scary. It
Right?
is scary.
It's easier getting to know other people.
You have some thoughts around this. I can see you're thinking.
No.
When I said it is easier to follow.
Of course it is. Somebody else has decided what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You're not having to think about it. You're not having to make or research anything. You're just going with the flow.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
I know. I know
of
the
course,
example
that it's a conversation we've had earlier today. Yeah, and you get people like that that are just going to go with the flow. Yeah, whatever you want to do, whatever. And it's like, but do you not have an opinion on this?
Yeah.
Do you not want to maybe do some research? You're just following what I'm saying and taking my word as gospel, but
what's your choice?
Yeah, what's your choice? And sometimes people don't want to make those choices. They're quite happy to leave it up to somebody else, but what they don't realise is sometimes not necessarily a pressure, but it's a responsibility for that other person.
Of course.
Hoping that they're doing the right thing, or as in my case, I was like, actually, I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going, you're going to enjoy this, we're going to do it because you don't have an opinion on it, so let's go with it.
The other part of it is also they think they're being easygoing rather than being difficult.
Exactly. There is that as well.
Right?
Oh my god, that's exactly it. You think you're being easygoing, but you're being difficult because you're too easygoing. You have no easygoing would be saying, this is my opinions and thoughts, but I'm happy to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
But saying
whatever you want.
even
like
like
the
a choice of
what do you fancy eating? What cuisine do you like?
the other thing is you don't learn about the person then because they're not being authentic, they're not showing any part of themselves. So if you're not giving any opinions or any thoughts of yours, then you're not connecting on a human
But
level.
they think they are.
They think they are.
They think
My
they're
opinion
helping.
is I have no opinion. Do you know, I'm trying to think how we got into this.
I have no idea. We'll talk about what
It's
you've
brave
covered
to
so
ask for
far.
help. It's brave to ask for help. So that's kind of everything that we've covered so far. So this time, what we're going to do is mindset go. We're going to talk about mindset when it comes to happiness as an overview, and then we can go into more detail on one of our other sessions. And we'll bring in, as we talked about with mindset, we'll bring in tools and techniques and things for people as well. But I do have some tips and things like that, having thought about it, things that I've tried and tested. So let me know kind of if this is something you guys have tried before or what your thoughts are on it. So here are some tips on either creating or resetting your mindset, because I do think as we're human beings, we evolve and change every day. Like you said, we're not supposed to be constantly stagnant in a state of happiness. I mean, that itself would be trauma.
Yeah.
And constantly, like, you need to have the lows to appreciate the highs.
Yes, of course you
You
do.
need to.
Of course you do.
So the same thing with mindset. I think we're constantly evolving. Our mind changes, and it's just about sometimes just checking it and resetting it. Yeah, just like we do with our goals and our health, right? We start with a great plan, and we'll have the menu set out for the week of what we're going to eat and things like that. No, just me. No,
Just you.
and then you get to like, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks down the line and stuff. Lots of other things have happened, and suddenly you find, oh, okay, stop doing that altogether now. It's just about resetting. Okay, so that's why mindset and go. So this is about either creating, if you haven't before, or resetting your mindset. The article that I actually did read, and I found that the ideas weren't new to me. I'd tried and tested these as well, but it is a good article to read. It's basically by Healthline. I did find some good things from that. So one of it is recognizing and identifying what you actually want to change. How simple is that?
It sounds simple. The reality is it's not that simple.
But if people don't know where they're not happy, how can they change it?
Yeah.
So for an example,
That's where it's almost like that, knowing you need help and asking for it.
well, what do you need help with?
Yeah, and sometimes it's like the person that goes, yeah, whatever, I'll do whatever you're doing.
Like you wouldn't, if you had a problem, you wouldn't turn up to the doctors and the doctor says, okay, how can I help you? I don't know.
I'm sure doctors have had those sort of patients. True. I'm pretty sure they have. It's like when you say, I feel down. Well, why do you feel down? I don't know.
Yeah, like
Right,
describe
I mean, like, sometimes-
what's happening to make it true. Yeah. So the first step in checking your mindset. So let's take an example. Let's take an example of something we may want to change. Let's say somebody's working on their fitness, right? They want to have better fitness. It could be for weight loss, it could be for general fitness, toning, etc., whatever. So the statement is, I'm unhappy. I'm unhappy with my body. I'm unhappy with the way kind of I look and my fitness levels. Okay, great. So what's your mindset, right? So check what you want to change. Okay, so something as broad as, well, I want to change my body. I want to change the way it looks. We need to be more specific. We know this about smart goal setting, specific. The same thing when it comes to your personal life as well, when it comes to mindset. So ask yourself, what is it specifically I want to change? Be clear on that. Okay, is it that I want to lose weight? If so, all over, where is it? Is it that I want to tone? Which bits? Yeah, what areas do I want to actually tone? Is it fitness? What do I mean by fitness? Does it mean I want to have a better kind of cardio stamina? Is it that I want more muscle? What do I actually want?
I want to tone my body.
Right.
Yeah.
So be really, really specific in what is it you want to change. On the flip side, let's say it's about somebody's personality. I don't like the way I am. Okay, what do you mean? What do you actually want to specifically change? Well, let's say, for example, I find I'm a very negative person. Okay, so what is it you want to change? It's kind of like coaching, isn't it? So what is it you want to change? So I don't want to be negative. Okay, so how are you going to help yourself to not be negative? So it's the way I look at things I need to change. Right, now we're getting somewhere. So that's what we mean by be clear and recognize and identify what it is you want to change.
Setting those goals.
Yeah, even if it's about your mindset itself, what is it about your mindset you want to change?
And people, this goes back to what we've just said, which is some people need help getting to the core of those answers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's okay to get that help. You
Yeah.
don't have to do it all
Yeah.
by yourself.
And that can be done through coaching. So, for example, your company offers out coaching support. You personally have a coaching qualification. You just need somebody who knows what they're doing in terms of asking you the right questions
Yeah.
for you to find the answers, because they lie within. You don't need to talk to somebody who, you know, those people where they have their own agenda. Well, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
need to do is this. What you really need is that.
You
know
don't want
what
someone
I'm
making
talking
assumptions, right? You
Or
want
making
someone
those
that's-
decisions for you.
Yeah.
Because what's right for one person may not be right for another.
They have to come to the conclusion themselves, and you find in counselling, you know, you go to a counsellor and they listen.
Yes.
They listen to you, they repeat back to you what you've said, and before you know it, you yourself have come round to the answer just by a conversation. They don't make that decision for you. They facilitate you in a conversation. And I've experienced this myself, you know, where I've sat there thinking, you haven't got a clue about me. You have not got a clue. Do you even know what I'm talking about? Do you even know how I feel? But actually, the way they talk to you and they go over it, and having done a sort of a level 2 counselling course, I realised, because when I was in training, we had the scenarios, we had to play the scenarios out, you know, and there was somebody telling me their scenario, and I was giving them all the answers, and I was solving all this, you know, the problems. And our tutor came along and they said, that's not what you're meant to be doing. You're meant to be listening. You listen, you repeat, you ask them if that's correct, if you've heard correctly, and then get them to come to the conclusion. You do not give them the solutions. But before I started the course, I thought I had to give them all the solutions, like you just said.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have got agendas, or they just truly believe they've got to solve this person's problem.
I think it's
But actually, it's that person who has to come to that answer.
it's second nature. It's very difficult to not want to give the answers for whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because people think they know best. Sometimes because you want to help.
Yeah.
Because
Purely.
as human beings, we're problem solvers. You know,
Yeah.
back to primitive man. It's about problem solving. So we have a problem. You want to find a solution. It's so difficult. It's really difficult to just listen with no agenda other than listen to understand.
But that's what counsellors are trained for, and perhaps coaches.
Massively.
Yeah, to listen.
Yeah.
It's a lot of listening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose counselling and the most basic form of this is listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to what you are saying,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's about analysing yourself and listening to yourself and your thoughts. And what does that kind of mean? That's the level we're talking about. So even if you recognise it's your mindset you want to change, be clear on what about your mindset do you want to change.
Yeah.
Is it that, for example, you will see the negative before you see the positive? Is it that you become quite anxious as soon as you see a challenge or a problem come along? You know, what is it? What is it that you want to change about your mindset? Be very clear before you move forward to try to change that. Again, when it comes to mindset, meditation and mindful thinking, which are slightly different, quite similar but slightly different. Over the last, I can't say, probably decade, I've heard a lot about mindfulness, kind of like going around and things like this.
Yeah. Be
But
mindful.
Yeah.
Be mindful what you say. Be mindful what you think.
But I
So
don't
much more
think
to it than that.
people actually understand necessarily
Yeah.
what mindfulness is actually about. Mindfulness is actually the art of accepting your thoughts. It's not about blocking thoughts out. It's about accepting your thoughts, accepting the present situation and being aware of the present situation. For example, if you are feeling anxious, it's not about don't feel anxious. It's about recognizing I feel anxious right now, recognizing how that's making you feel, and then how do you, using the power of your mind, how do you change those emotions in you? How do you see it slightly differently? Mindfulness is about being present, isn't it? It's about being fully in the moment.
And so many people are not present. So many. I think with the world and society has become like that. I mean, mobile
Multitasking.
phones, different WhatsApps
Yeah.
and social media, and you know, you've got your phone, you're watching it, but you think you're listening. And I think I know my children. I mean, we have, I don't know if all phones have this, but we have a Zen mode on our phones.
It's called Zen.
It's called a Zen mode. So
But it's just do not disturb.
no, I have a Zen mode.
What
Of course she
exactly
does.
What
Yeah,
exactly is a Zen mode?
A Zen mode cuts you off for 20 minutes. Nothing comes through. So my youngest, I mean, we've both got it on our phones. We've got the OnePluses. He'll say, right, Mum, it's Zen time. So I'll go, yeah. He said, no, put your phone on Zen. And we both put our phones on Zen and we'll have a conversation.
I love that he does that.
Yeah, it completely, no phone calls come through, nothing. It gives you
Yeah.
20 minutes to start your Zen mode.
Very nice.
And that's something I think we should all practice, especially when it comes to connecting with our children. It's really important.
Yeah.
Not even just connecting
Well,
with yourself.
With yourself, with our children, with others.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, go on, I'm listening. No, you're not listening because you've got your face stuck in your phone.
Yeah.
So don't tell me you're listening to me because you are not present. You know, I'm guilty of it. I am so guilty of it. And that's why, I realise with my children, especially, I mean, they've grown up now, but as they were growing up, and you've got a young child, and I'd say to you, be mindful, be mindful of that, and yeah, have that Zen moment.
Yeah.
Nothing is distracting you, nothing at all. It's you one-to-one with that child.
I did a course on mindful parenting as well, actually. And I was really happy to see that 80% of the stuff, 90% of the stuff I was already doing.
Fantastic.
But I think it takes, you're right, you have to start with self, because if you are, however you are, is what you're going to project out.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's being a parent, whether it's in a friendship, or even at work, you are going to basically radiate out what is within. So you're absolutely right, giving yourself that time. I mean, something simple as, do you think you'd ever see somebody on a regular basis nowadays just sitting with the TV off, phone off, everything, just sitting with your thoughts, or sitting outside just with your thoughts, no other distractions, no phone, no magazine, no book, nothing. You're not feeding information in, you're extracting information out.
Wow.
I do.
I've started. I've had to. My brain does not stop. It literally, it's like 100 things going on. And I started to try meditation and I couldn't shut my brain off. I literally I couldn't find the peace from within to
You know that's
There's
okay,
too much
and that's
going
how it
on.
starts.
I know, and that's how
Yeah.
it starts. And actually, my trigger point where it flipped was going away, taking those 3 days out, switching off from the world, and then coming back. And I just started to do it, and I changed the location, and I just switched off. No TV, no phone, nothing, just. And I think it's also finding the right guided meditation that's really helped me.
Yeah.
Just switching off, and I can quite happily just sit there with nothing, staring into space, just.
That is what, there are different levels of meditation, different ways you can do it. Mindful meditation is that. Mindful meditation is about being okay with thoughts coming, accepting them, letting them go, but just sitting there with you and your mind and nothing else.
Well, we've got this book in front of us, Mindfulness in Your Pocket. So it's on my coffee table, and we open it up in the morning and just have a read of the quote and see what that day is going to bring. Okay, so what's the one we've got today? Let's have a look. Whenever you start to feel
That's good.
negative emotions, take it as an opportunity to learn about yourself. What thought patterns are causing these emotions? How do you best overcome them?
It's like if they knew what we were talking
Quite
about.
appropriate to what we were talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's just it. That's what mindfulness is. It's being aware of your emotion. Okay, I feel this way. Why do I feel this way? What's caused it? What's triggered it? Because there is science to it as well. We know that the way we feel will trigger a chemical reaction in our body,
Yeah.
right? And ultimately you go back to your basic instincts of fight or flight. Absolutely. So anytime you're feeling nervous, upset, scared, anything like that, those what we would call negative emotions, we call them negative because essentially your cortisol levels are going to shoot up, put you in a stress state, and that actually means that your brain is not able to then process information effectively. because it switches into fight or flight. It's not working in solution mode, it's not working through that, so you're unable to. And that's the truth for any high emotion. So I read this recently, in fact I learned it as well on the mindful parenting. So anytime you're in a high state of emotion, so you're angry, you're upset, you're hurt, anything like that where your cortisol levels are going to shoot up and it puts you into fight or flight, what actually happens is your brain shuts down. So that's why they say that if you're angry or upset, don't make a decision at that time. Cool down, because your brain is actually incapable of making those decisions. The same for children as well. So it's really important to find out what's triggered it, like you just read there, and actually recognise that trigger point. But that you can't do at that time because you can't think about it.
No.
What you have to do is, when you are not in that state, is when you practice mindfulness actually and resilience. You practice it when you're calm and relaxed, and you think about your trigger points and things that upset you, and you think about what you want to do in those times. And it can be as simple as breathing. Breathing in properly, not lazy diaphragm breathing, but breathing into your stomach where you feel it expand, breathing out through your nose, taking deep breaths where you count, for example. And that's why feeling your stomach is good, because as you feel it, that relaxes you down as well. Or you could use something. So you could use, you can get those balls that are like, I think they're called breathing balls or something, where they're like a meshwork, they're like fidget toys, and they expand and contract. So you can even do that, basically. And as you breathe in, you expand it, and as you breathe out, you contract it. So it gives you something to focus on. So practicing your breathing, that's what meditation and mindfulness is about. Practicing your breathing, what you are doing is training your mind, and you're training your brain to how to relax itself. So when you come under pressure, when you come into a point where you find your stress levels going up and you're going into that fight or flight, if you practiced it enough, it will kick in and you'll be able to use your breathing to relax yourself. And what that will do is stop that cortisol from shooting up, meaning your brain can function and you can decide how to get out of that situation or how to actually find a solution to it. So there's science behind it. It's fascinating.
Huge amount of science, and actually a lady called Professor Carol Dweck wrote all about this in Growth Mindset.
She also
she
comes
wrote
to me
a
for
book.
I said she also comes to me for
She's a good mate. Her book was called Mindset. So all the work around growth mindset was pioneered by her.
Oh,
so she's
got
got a lot
now
of
later.
I'll send you it on.
Definitely. These are amazing, by the way. Cheerio. I don't know what they are. Cheerio?
Spicy Cheerios.
Spicy Cheerios, amazing. So that's one thing about kind of looking into mindfulness. And as I said, we'll do a whole session just around meditation, mindfulness, that kind of thing.
I think that would be really, really valuable.
Definitely. And as part of it, we could do even a small meditation, just to give an example. But I do teach it. I teach meditation. As I said, there's different levels. There's mindful meditation, which is more about training your brain to relax, be present in the situation, and it's amazing for the morning because it wakes you up as well. Then you can have a relaxing meditation, which is actually about switching off and taking you to somewhere else to tap into your subconscious, really, and speak to your subconscious, and then come back to the present. And then you can get kind of deeper level meditations, of which I'll not bore people with the conversations right now, but there are deeper levels of meditation. So it is a skill. Anybody can do it, but it does take practice, like anything. It takes.
So have you done courses in this, or you're self-taught?
Self-taught. I've done some courses, nothing big, like I've gone off to somewhere to do it, but having lived in India as well, like yoga and meditation and things like this, it's so easily accessible.
And was it something that drew you to do this, or was something that interested you?
That's a really good question.
What made you want to do this?
Initially, when I was quite young and I kind of went into it, it was simply because I love learning things, and this was something new. So, and it's very deep rooted in our heritage and culture, isn't it?
Yes,
meditation and yoga. But later in life, when I actually became very good to the point where I can teach it, that was because there were aspects of my life that I was extremely unhappy with, And in order to find a solution, figure out what I was unhappy with and how to change it, I had to first quiet my brain so my mind could speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I had to quiet everything down, and that's when I started going into it.
Okay.
And my God, the benefits I found from it. It might sound silly, but my skin changed, like through meditation, because you're breathing and relaxing and you're releasing endorphins and things. My skin like just improved a lot, you know. It became kind of just a bit more, well, it just had like a glow.
Oh wow.
You know?
Interestingly, stress and things like that can
Yes.
manifest itself physically.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
makes sense.
So that's how I kind of got into it. But yeah, a teacher meditation. In fact, what I'm thinking of doing, we were speaking about this, I haven't had time to talk to you yet, sorry. But basically I was, I'm going to be holding kind of workshops, probably at my house, kind of maybe once a week or so, holding a workshop where I can take people through a guided meditation, teach them meditation. I also do chakra healing and colour therapy, so we can do some chakra healing and meditation. And as I also do tarot card reading and clairvoyancy things, some classes may focus on that as well, where we can learn the basics of kind of clairvoyancy and yeah, messages and things like that. So watch this space. I told you I've been thinking about a lot of things coming up. So mindset go. So meditation and mindful thinking, and changing your perspective as well, which easier said than done probably, but your perspective counts for a lot, and you have to catch yourself in the act as you're facing a situation. Our go-to tends to be, most people's go-to tends to be the negative in it. Oh no, there's a problem. In that moment, it's about catching yourself saying, hold on, let me go to the other side of it and think about what the positives are first.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, you find there's very little negative left. However, you go to the negative first, you're blinded because of that stress level and because of the brain switching off. You then cannot see the positive.
One thing I help people do is change language. It's how do you change the language so that it helps shift your mindset. Again, it's all linked to that growth mindset piece. And it's a massive part, and you can do it on behaviour, you can do it on just things that you hear or say or whatever it might be. So language is a massive one. So if you change your language, it helps your brain change with it.
Yeah.
I actually have that in here, you're absolutely right, because your language is being directed to you by your brain. So by you changing your language, you're actually sending your brain a message. You know? So for example, something very simple as, I don't think I can do that, to I can do that. You've just told your brain, you've given it a direct order saying you can do this.
That's right.
Well, what happens in your brain is when you have a thought or whatever it might be, it creates a valley, for example, in your mind. And the more you go back to that thought, it will deepen that valley that you've got. By changing the language, you're trying to create a new valley. And the more you use that valley, the more ingrained that valley will become for you.
And it will just become
there you go,
the river.
And there's a little science for you.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right, and that's exactly what mindfulness and all these things are about. It's about practice till it becomes your second nature, and then that just becomes the way you are.
Yes.
You know, you weren't born. Everybody's born with a clean slate. Nobody's born with a negative mindset. That's something you've trained yourself into, and therefore it's something you can train yourself out of and do it the other way around.
Absolutely. Train your brain.
Absolutely. And then some other things, and this is again for people who are thinking about meditation, it's like guided imagery as well. So they say, you know, you are what you eat. You also feel what you see, if that makes sense. So think about guided imagery. So simple things like, what kind of imagery do you have in your home? What colours do you have around your house? What paintings, what pictures, what things do you have in your home? Because your subconscious is constantly picking those up, and that's feeding into your state of mind as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
So for example, Nish, around your home, you've got so many beautiful family photos.
Yeah.
Beautiful memories from childhood till now, and gorgeous colours as well. You know, really lovely, vibrant colours. And that it's an extension of your personality, basically. you know.
Yeah.
But it also creates a feeling.
Yes. People walk into this kitchen and go, wow, this is a bit bright.
What does that tell you about their mindset if they think this is bright?
Yeah, this isn't.
Yeah, I walk in and go, well, this is fun.
Yeah.
Bina, like the last time I visited your home, you have a very tranquil setting. So you go for neutral tones, lots of gorgeous smelling candles, just like Nish. Lovely. I remember like your rug where you do have carpet is really nice and soft as well.
Yeah, I go for the big fluffy rugs.
Yeah. So, but again, that tells me about your personality, and also that environment is what you're in. So I bet you feel tranquil and peaceful. It's one of those where you can't wait to get home because you feel cozy and relaxed.
Yeah, it's my safe space. Like, work is so hectic and so crazy that when I go sit in my living room and I snuggle into the rug or my sofa, it has to feel peaceful and tranquil and just, yeah.
So thinking about guided imagery can be different things. You could use it when you are meditating as actually having images in your mind, but I also take this to the extension of what's your environment like, because that will have an impact on your mind as well. Writing to express as well, this is all under kind of like mindset as well, so changing your mindset, so writing down.
Journaling, yes, that's a big
journaling
thing
is
these days, isn't it?
Yeah,
Journaling
absolutely.
down your thoughts.
And there's loads of apps and stuff available to help you with that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, apps are good. Personally, I prefer writing because I find as I'm writing, you're thinking, you know, as you're kind of flicking that pen and you're thinking, and it goes into your memory because you're actually getting that muscle memory as opposed to typing something. But whatever works for people. But essentially getting your ideas and thoughts down, because that's another way of reflecting onto yourself. You're back onto yourself.
That's
and
right.
thinking.
My eldest son does that. He does journaling.
Yeah.
I think that's really helped him with things.
So, you know, it's whatever these tools kind of like work, it's always worth trying, isn't it? Focused and positive distractions, I like this one because people always think distractions are bad. But again, it's another way of training your brain to have prepared kind of those positive distractions. So, for example, you're trying to change your mindset. You know that you think negatively quite often, or you get stressed very easily. If I have these things ready, then when I'm going into that and I recognise I'm starting to feel a bit stressed or starting to feel overwhelmed, then actually I have and it could be I've written them down, a list of things that are focused positive distractions. It could be it's going to spend time with a friend who I know always has a positive impact, or spending time with my family, or my pet, or going for a walk, or listening to some jamming tunes, you know, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
You know, so that is it as well. And finally, just asking for help. You know, if you're not sure, and you're like, I want to change
I think
my
that's the
mindset.
biggest challenge for some people, isn't it? That just being able to reach out and ask for help.
Yeah.
I know it's there, people say just ask or go to your doctors or whatever, but it's not easy.
It's not.
It's really not easy. And again, we flip to this, the cultural thing as well.
Yeah, the
certain
stigma
cultures,
attached
stigma
to it.
that it has.
Yeah.
But
there's sometimes more than that. It's the way you look at it. I'll put my hand up. I historically have struggled to ask for help, and sometimes still do, because in my mind it's not I don't want the help. It's I don't want to bother someone. I don't want to. I know they have a busy life. I know they've got stuff going on. I'm not gonna
burden.
Yes, thank you. With them, with what I've got going on, and that's one way of looking at it. And the other way is give them the chance to say they can't do it. Right? You're just taking away someone else's choice. So you've got to talk yourself out of it. And over time, I've got a lot better at it. But it does play sometimes. You still kind of go into that, oh, I'll just leave them because I know they've got a busy week going on. It comes out in people. So you've got that playing along with the cultural mix.
Well, I think when I talk about the cultural stigma, I think that's more going for professional help. I think people have, not all people are good at just, it's not always about professional, it's just about talking to somebody.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a professional, because sometimes just sitting and having a cup of tea and talking to somebody
I think professional help. If you don't have
difference,
somebody in your life like that, like we're very lucky that we have each other, because we are very like-minded and we know each other quite well in knowing how to support each other. But a lot of people don't have that in their life, so then it becomes a case of perhaps asking for professional help because maybe you don't have somebody like that.
Mm.
But I'll come back to it. It is actually really, really brave because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to do everything you can to put yourself in a good state of mind.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm going to end on talking about mindset. We'll have a break and then see if we want to talk a little bit about the body and soul aspect. We've kind of covered some of it anyway, but I just want to end on some thought-provoking quotes. Again, these are just some of my favourites and they are really inspiring. So I'm sure you've heard of these. Some are really famous, although I couldn't find the author for some of them. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Is that Wayne Dyer?
I don't know, I want to find it.
It was.
I love that one. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's what mindset can do.
Yeah.
This one by William Wordsworth, I love. Your mind is the garden, your thoughts are the seeds. The harvest can either be flowers or weeds.
Yeah, that's a really good one, isn't it? Really good one.
Yep. It's what you feed your mind, it's how you train your mind. Everything is encompassed within there. So as I said, use as your most powerful tool. And finally, and this I think said it all, if you realise how powerful your thoughts are, you'd never think a negative thought again.
Because the mind is a very
That'll give you
powerful, powerful part of your anatomy.
Very powerful. If you look at anybody who's achieved great things and you ask them where it started from, started from here.
Yeah.
An
Your mind is
idea.
your computer.
Absolutely. So ladies, let's have a break and we'll talk a little bit about the body part of it and maybe what we want to bring to the table with that. And we'll also explore the soul side of things. But here we are, talking about happiness. Are you happy?
I'm happy. I'm
Are you
very
happy?
happy.
Absolutely.
Well, here's to happiness.
Here's to happiness.